Hi, fifth graders. Mrs. Bandy here, welcoming you to another exciting math lesson. I hope you guys are doing well. You're getting outside, getting some fresh air. The weather's definitely getting warmer. Getting outside, riding your bikes, going for a walk, doing something outside and enjoying that weather. Let's get started with our math lesson for the day, or for the week, I should say. We are going to be talking about classifying triangles. And when I say classifying, I mean that we're going to take the triangles and we're going to put them into groups. That's what classifying means. And we're going to put them into two different types of groups. We're going to put them into groups based on their sides and also based on their angles. And you can see on the screen in front of you that I have an arrow pointed to the sides of a triangle, and I also have an arrow pointed to the angles so that just refreshes your memory about what's a side and what's an angle. All right, let's take a look as to how exactly are we going to classify triangles based on their sides and their angles. All right, so let's take a look at the screen. You can see one of the ways that we classify triangles is based on their sides. We know every triangle has three sides. So there are different types or lengths of sides which gives triangles different names. So if you look on the screen right now, there's a picture of an equilateral triangle. And you see in that word equilateral, equi, which means, you've seen that in other words, that prefix or that Latin root, it means equal. So in this case, the triangle has equal sides, and you can see that shown. There's different ways to show it. And here you see that it's shown by these double hash marks. That's one way that shows you that each of those sides are equal. They have the equal number of hash marks on the triangle on each side, which means that each of the sides is equal. So in this case, we would say that if a triangle has three equal sides, we would classify that as an equilateral triangle. All right, so the next way that we're classifying triangles by their sides, the next type of triangle would be an isosceles triangle. And you can see that on the screen right now. An isosceles triangle has two sides that are equal or congruent, because couldn't we use the word congruent too, that math word in there? And you can see that again on our picture. Two of the sides has the same number of hash marks, so that means they're equal. There are also cases where you're going to see the triangles, you're actually going to see the measurements of the sides, and you're going to see that in just a few minutes. So that is another way that you can see what is the length of a triangle side. So again, to reiterate, an isosceles triangle has two equal sides, just two. Okay, so here is a scalene triangle. This is the third and final way that or the third and final name for a triangle when we classify it by its sides. This is a scalene triangle. So what do you think, how many sides are equal in a scalene triangle? We had equilateral, which had three equal sides. We had a scalene, we had an isosceles triangle that had two equal sides. Now we have a scalene triangle. So how many sides do you think are equal? You're right, zero. Big goose egg. Zero sides are equal. Okay, so we just took a look at the way we classify triangles using sides. We had equilateral, isosceles, and scalene. Now, I know you're probably sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, Mrs. Bandy, this is a lot of vocabulary to remember. It is. However, on the next couple of slides, I have created a cheat sheet for you so that you have that in case you need it moving forward. So don't fret. I know you're feeling like this is a lot of vocabulary. Don't worry. I got your back. All right. So let's take a look at classifying triangles by their angles now. So take a look at the picture I have on the screen. These are acute triangles. Now, why are we saying they're acute triangles? Think about it. Yeah, because look at their angle measurements. What do you notice about all of these measurements? And what do you know about the word acute? Because you've definitely seen that before. Yeah, so all of the measurements are under 90 degrees. So an acute triangle is going to have all of its angles, so 3 of its angles are all going to be below 90 degrees. So that means looking at the picture on the screen, all of these are classified as acute because they all have angles, 3 angles that are under or below 90 degrees. All right, 5th graders. So we just took a look at acute triangles, and we learned that acute triangles have 3 angles that are less than 90 degrees, so they're all acute. So let's take a look at the triangles on the screen. These triangles are classified by their angles, and they're called obtuse triangles. Now, why are they called obtuse? What do you notice about them? Yes, they have one obtuse angle and only one, which means that the angle measures more than 90 degrees, so 91 or above. Now, can they have more than one obtuse angle in a triangle? No. You want to know why? Because every triangle, the measurements of all 3 of the angles equal 180 degrees. No matter what triangle it is, their angles will always measure 180 degrees. So let's say I had an obtuse triangle and one of the angles was 91. And then I tried to have another angle that was 91. Well, that's 182 degrees. That's more than 180 degrees, which I just told you is the measurement of all 3 angles of every single triangle. So when you encounter triangles and you're classifying them, you will never see a triangle that has more than one obtuse angle. You won't. It's not possible. Okay, so the third and final triangle that we classify by angles is called a right triangle. Now, I know that in 4th grade, you measured angles. So why is this triangle labeled or named a right triangle? And how do you know it's a right triangle? Yeah, because it has this box in the corner, which tells you that it's how many degrees? Right, 90 degrees. So it doesn't have to be labeled 90 degrees. If it has that box, you automatically know that it's 90 degrees. Therefore, we call that a right triangle. That is, I know something that you learned in 4th grade when you were measuring angles. You learned that that box goes in there to show 90 degrees. Okay, now that you've learned about how we classify triangles by their angles and by their sides, let's do some practice. So you see that I have a triangle on the screen for you. I also have this chart for your reference. I told you in the other slide that I would have that there for you so that you can reference it. It shows you sides, and it also shows you angles. So it has everything there for you all in one spot. All right, so let's get started. I am going to need to classify this triangle by both its sides and its angle. So it's going to get 2 names. So let's first start with the sides. Okay, I see that my triangle has a measurement. This side is 3 centimeters, this side is 3 centimeters, and this side is 3 centimeters. Well, then that's interesting. All three sides have the same measurement. So what would we call that? That means all sides are equal, right? So I'm going to go back over here to my chart because I'm having difficulty remembering all of the vocabulary. So I know my triangle has 3 equal sides. Okay, this says 2 equal sides. No. This says 0 equal sides. No. All right, this one says 3 equal sides. So I know that this triangle is an equilateral triangle. So I'm going to write that down. So I have equilateral. It's really hard to write with your finger like that. Okay, so I have equilateral. Now, let me get rid of all of this. We've talked about the sides. Now what do I need to talk about in order to classify my triangle? Right, I need to talk about the angles. So let's go look at the measurement of the angles of my triangle. One angle is 60 degrees, one angle is 60 degrees, and the third angle is 60 degrees. Well, that's kind of like the sides. All of the sides were congruent or equal. All the angles are congruent or equal. So let me go back over to my chart so that I can have some help. So I'm looking for all angles are equal. Okay, so this has one 90-degree angle. Okay, I don't have a 90-degree angle, so I know it's not this. Okay, 3 angles less than 90 degrees. Do I have 3 angles that are less than 90 degrees? 60, that's less than 90, 60 is less than 90, 60 is less than 90. So that would work. So that's a possibility. So I'm just going to star that for a second. And then obtuse. One angle is greater than 90 degrees. Do I have any angles that are greater than 90 degrees? No, I don't. So it can't be this one. So it has to be acute. So I can label my triangle when we're talking about classifying by angles as acute. So this triangle is considered an equilateral acute triangle. Now you see how I used the chart on the side of the screen. It's going to continue to be on every screen, and it's a really good idea that you have this chart. I will also put this chart in the Padlet so that you have it to reference when you're doing the work in Envision. All right, let's try another problem. All right, let's classify this triangle on the screen. We just had some practice on the previous slides. Let's take a look at this slide and let's do some more practice. First, we're going to classify by sides. Remember, we have isosceles, 2 equal sides. We have scalene, no equal sides, and we have equilateral that has 3 equal sides. I want you pause the video, write down on a separate sheet of paper what type of triangle this is based off of the sides. Okay, go ahead and pause now. Okay, what did you get? How are we classifying this triangle when it comes to its sides? What am I hearing? I think I'm hearing isosceles, right? Okay, so let's prove that. Isosceles says that I have 2 equal sides. Okay, so let's go over. I have 7 inches and I have 7 inches. That's 2 equal sides, right? This is 9 inches, so that's not equal. So that would be correct. So great work. So we have isosceles. Okay, so we have isosceles. All right, now I want you in just a second to pause the video and try to classify this triangle based on its angles. Remember, we have right, which is one 90-degree angle. We have acute, which is 3 angles, all less than 90 degrees. And then we have obtuse, which is one angle greater than 90. Go ahead and pause now. Okay, what did you get? What? Yes, absolutely. I would totally agree with you that it's the right triangle. How did you know that? What was your first indicator? Yes, the box in where the two sides meet, the vertices, right? That angle, that box represents 90 degrees. So that means that it would be a right Right. Okay, so this triangle is classified as an isosceles right triangle. Okay, so we've had some practice on the previous two slides. Now I would like for you to, in just a minute, to pause the video and do this one on your own. Remember, we are looking for a classification of sides and of angles. So that means that you're going to have two words describing this triangle. So go ahead, pause the video on a separate sheet of paper, determine how are you going to classify this triangle by its sides and by its angles. Pause now. Okay, what did you get? I'm excited to hear everything that you found out about this triangle. What did you say the triangle was classified when we're talking about sides? What did you say? Okay, you're saying that it's isosceles? Let's prove it. Okay, so isosceles means that it has two equal sides. Let's take a look at the sides. I have 14, I have 8, and I have 8. Well, that would make sense. I have two equal sides. So I definitely agree with you guys. Very nice job. So isosceles, I-S-O-S-C-E-L. Okay, see, even Mrs. Bandy needed that chart to make sure that I spelled isosceles right. Okay, now we've classified by sides. Let's classify by angle. So what did you guys decide was going to be the classification for our triangle? What? I don't hear you all. Oh, obtuse? Okay. You think it's an obtuse triangle? Why do you say that? Oh, okay. I agree with you. I agree that it's an obtuse because there is one obtuse angle. That 128 degrees is definitely above 90 degrees, which would make it an obtuse angle. Yes, so I have isosceles and I have obtuse. Very nice work, you guys. Excellent job. Fifth graders, now it's your turn to do some work. You can see on the screen that I have created a playlist for you in Envision again for this week. When you go into the playlist, the first thing you're going to do is the independent practice. You are going to complete numbers 5, 6, and 8 of the practice. Please make sure that you're writing those answers when you're classifying the triangles on a separate sheet of paper. After the practice, the independent practice, you're going to work on the practice buddy. Remember, when you're finished with the practice buddy, you want to make sure you go to the review screen and then hit submit. Also, after the practice buddy, you're going to complete the quick check. The quick check is also the same thing. You're going to go to the review screen and hit submit. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to your teacher. Good luck and happy mathing.